On this edition of Lexington Now, the Housing Stabilization Program, Futsal, and the Bluegrass Airport celebrates 75 years. I'm Neil Noah, and welcome to Lexington Now for the week of November 8th, 2021. The pandemic has contributed to many hardships for all, but in particular for low-income families. One way these families have been helped is through the Housing Stabilization Program, which will now be administered by Community Action Council. Here's more.
Overall, the program has had an amazing impact. Since March, nearly $75 million in assistance payments have gone out, including more than $67 million in rental assistance. $67 million. And $8.4 million in utility assistance. And we're getting better at doing it. Last month alone, the program paid out more than $18.2 million in assistance, which is our monthly record. Overall, the program assistance went to more than 20,000 individual payments that helped nearly 15,000 households. Think about that, 15,000 families having that extra security of knowing that they're going to be able to open that door and that shelter will be there. The average assistance per household was just above $5,000. The program has been absolutely essential in our fight against COVID-19 that can take people from us or harm people among us in so many ways. So I want to be clear. Ensuring that folks have stable homes and ability to distance or isolate during the pandemic doesn't just keep them safe, it keeps everybody safe. A new team that's taking over the Housing Stabilization Fund is a team we know really well. That is the Community Action Council. This and other 22 community action agencies across Kentucky have been on the front lines of the pandemic, but they are on the front lines of so many challenges every day. They're helping individuals and families recover from the impacts. Whether it's expanding hours at food pantries, operating a winter shelter for the homeless, or using neighborhood centers like this one to serve as hosts for vaccine clinics, Community Action Council has been steadfast in its commitment to helping Kentuckians make it through, and make it through in a way that allows that bright future.
If we've learned anything from COVID-19 and the pandemic, it is the power of partnerships. And in this case, the partners included the local, the state, and the federal governments, and organizations like Community Action Council. By working together, we've been able to accomplish so much. We started the fund in September of 2020 with a local investment of $1,400,000 from our city's general fund. Our program received $11.7 million through the state that has provided a great boost to support our community. So thank you again, Governor. And then the federal government has provided $17.3 million. In all, our program has received $30.4 million in support. Since its start in late 2020, the program here in Fayette County has helped approximately 1,600 households with rent and utility payments. We will soon have discussions with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the U.S. Department of the Treasury. They have seen the good work we've done here in Fayette County and want to collect best practices from our program to share with programs all across the country. And that is a success we can be very proud of.
This is what the heart of community action really is. It's what we're all about. It's what we're designed to do. Creatively help the community in the times of need, and then pave a way forward towards stability. That's what we do. Every single day, that's what we do. during a pandemic, and even when we're not in a pandemic. And that's why I'm so glad and pleased that we've arrived at this moment today. After many months of working in tandem with the city to provide financial assistance to renters facing eviction and the landlords, what is important for the public to know is that from your vantage point, things are not going to change very much. Now, what I really mean by this is that anyone that is living in Lexington, Fayette County and facing the threat of eviction due to COVID-19 related issues, the best and quickest place to turn to receive help is still the website, which is covid19rentershelp.org. That web address is the same address that we were using with the city. Once you go to that web address, it will redirect you to Community Actions page. So we try to make the transition as seamless as possible. So I don't want people to think that a lot is going to be changing or the rules are changing. They're not. We're ready. We are ready and staying ready to help everyone.
Parks and Recreation, along with the Winburn Community Partners team, has brought a new offering to MLK Park, Futsal. We were there for the announcement.
This is a great example of how our One Lexington program, bringing the community together to provide more meaningful opportunities for our youth and families, and it's a great thing. That's really what being a healthy city is all about. Neighbors helping neighbors, working together to improve their community. And so we are so excited to bring this beautiful new futsal court to MLK Park in the Winburn neighborhood. Futsal is increasing in popularity, and our parks team is always working to provide public access to all sorts of sports activities because we know our people like that.
This project and a lot of projects that we have throughout the district, I'll always make it aware that these are collaborative efforts. It takes folks in the community, it takes folks in Fayette County Public Schools, it takes folks in city government, and folks that are just invested and involved to make these initiatives happen. This conversation started from the Winburn Community Partners Group. It was, I think, a group of students that reached out to their teachers and school administrators about the lack of access to be able to play soccer-related sports in this park. It's a big park. There's a lot of green space. There's a lot of football teams that play up here. There's a lot of baseball practices and other activities, and it was hard to find a dedicated place for folks that wanted to play soccer and futsal to have that place to play. Identifying a location, talking about identifying where funds would come from to repurpose this tennis court that was very seldomly used to become a futsal court took some effort and some work. So I applaud Laura and Monica and her team at Parks for working and to being consummate advocates of this court. Winburn is a true gem in our community, and it's ever changing. We have projects in line that will help open up this neighborhood and make it connectable to other amenities throughout our community. And I think there's also going to be some opportunities in those efforts to put more amenities in this park. So please stay engaged. Please continue to be advocates for our young people. Please continue to be advocates for our parks.
I was in similar situation when I first came to Parks that I didn't know what futsal was either. So it's an exciting, really fast-paced, small-sided court, as you can see here, often repurposed on basketball courts or tennis courts. We find that the biggest soccer nations in the world are built on a futsal foundation, serving as building blocks for our next soccer greats. Investing in public space, as you heard Councilmember Brown and the Mayor both say, has never been more important, and we appreciate their support. We could not have accomplished this project without their support, Commissioner Ford, our Winburn partners, the Lexington Public Police, the Fayette County Public Schools law enforcement, and our parks team who champion and maintain these projects throughout the city.
All right, everybody ready? I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay!
75 years of Bluegrass Airport when we come back. Welcome back to Lexington Now. Bluegrass Airport is celebrating 75 years of service to the region. The official date was November 7th, but the celebrations continue. Amy Cottle spoke to us about the significance of this milestone and looked toward the future.
We're actually celebrating 75 years of air service here in Central Kentucky. 75 years ago this November, Delta Airlines and Eastern Airlines landed their first flight here in Lexington. Obviously, that was a very exciting day for this community, and we're excited that 75 years later, we're very strong, and we have great support here with our local community. It was a lot different than probably what you would see here today. We are actually in a different terminal building, located just a couple hundred feet from where we are now, but it was a lot smaller. In fact, a lot of folks who have memories of going through that airport will remember just a very large one open space, and then actually a baggage claim that was outside of the airport. So folks, when they needed to get their bag when they came in from a flight, would go outside. And when we look back at historical pictures of those days, we see picket fences around the airport and none of the security perimeters and stuff that you would see today. You know, we started off with just a couple of flights, needless to say, and now we're up to at least 40 departures each day. So big changes certainly that have happened over the years. Airlines have changed and come and gone over the years. There's been a lot of acquisitions in the market. So things have definitely had a very different feel back in the day. We have a total of approximately 1.4 million passengers that come through the airport. Now that was pre-COVID numbers, so things are a little bit different right now as the air service industry recovers, but that's on the commercial side. Now keep in mind there's a lot that happens at an airport besides just the commercial flights. So for instance, we have private aviation, we have horse transport, medevac services, flight training schools. So there's a lot of different things that go on this 1,000-acre property that the average person might not see on a day-to-day basis. People tend to just think of that commercial flight. They don't realize all the different things that go on, but there's some very important things such as life-saving flights that come through here. And you know, that's extremely important for this community. We rely on those services, and that's not something that people think of every day when they think of the airport. The airport is always planning ahead. Obviously, we're a large entity. We need to make sure that we're supporting our community with appropriate air service. And so we actually do a 20-year master planning process, and we're getting ready to start that actually in a couple months. So it'll be a great activity for us to undergo. We work with all the different partners here on the property to determine what they would like to see at the airport. And we also bring the general public into that study as well. So we will be having outreach with the public to discuss what does this airport look like in 20 years. And that's such a crucial and important task for us to do because we obviously have to plan ahead and make sure we are anticipating what is going to come in the future. One thing I would definitely recommend is checking our website, bluegrassairport.com, because we have a series of oral histories on the website. We had interviewed approximately about a dozen people who have come through this airport or had a major role with this airport over the years. And it's great to hear some of those stories that they tell. Their airport actually used to be an airport basketball team back in the day. We, of course, have had so many dignitaries that have come through this airport. The Queen of England has come through several times. We've had almost every sitting president come through, lots of celebrities, and so there's some great stories. In particular, one thing that's always fascinating to the public as well is horse transport. A lot of people don't think of how does a horse get from A to B. It's a great area to better understand because really we have these airplanes that have about 20 stalls in it. It's almost like a barn when you go inside of it. So it really is a fascinating industry, and there's definitely a lot out there that the average person probably doesn't think about. About 5 or 6 years ago, we actually produced an airport history book, and it gives a great overview of all the things that have happened at this airport over the years. And a lot of those stories we have now put online as well. So certainly, you know, we recommend to people to look at those resources. That book is actually in most of our local libraries here in Lexington, so it is available if you would like to look through it. But it's got some great old historic photos of the airport that you might not see every day, as well as just some good stories as well.
What has become a downtown tradition for Lexington is now open for the season. I'm talking about the skating rink at Triangle Park. Laura Farnsworth gives us the details.
We are at the rink at Triangle Park in downtown Lexington. It is downtown's ice skating rink, and it is open for the season. The rink at Triangle Park is celebrating its 12th anniversary this year in downtown. It's a great opportunity for people to come out it's good for date night, it's good for family outings. Anytime you want to come downtown and just kind of get a good workout in or hang out with your friends, the rink at Triangle Park is a great place to do it. So the season for the rink here at Triangle Park runs from November to about mid-January. It's part of a system of rinks that kind of take place all over this part of the U.S. And when our friends can come in and get it set up, we go ahead and open for the season. I know a lot of people think Thanksgiving, the tree lighting, that's the perfect time for the rink. But really, there are some great weekends in November, typically weather-wise. And so we just want everyone to have an opportunity to come out, maybe when it's not freezing cold, which is what you're going to find in January, February. So the sooner we can get it open, the better. So we are located in Triangle Park. It's kind of in front of the newly reconstructed Central Bank Center. If you're familiar with Rupp Arena and kind of that end of downtown, that is where we are, corner of Main Street and Broadway. We're open 7 days a week through the season. The hours vary, especially when Fayette County schools are out. All of that information is at our website, which is downtownlex.com. We are closed on Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day, but other than that, we are open, weather permitting, throughout the entire season. You'd be surprised at the capacity of the rink. I know it looks pretty small, but they can get, I believe it's anywhere between 100 and 150 guests on the ice at any given time. You do pay an admission fee, it's $15, and that includes 60 minutes on the ice. And our friends at the Lexington Ice Center that kind of run the day-to-day operations take great care to make sure that everyone's getting their time. They've got an entire wristband system to make sure that when you come down here, you get your 60 minutes and there's plenty of space for you to skate. And of course, that the ice is safe. There's a little Zamboni type machine that they scrape the ice with occasionally and just make sure everything stays safe.
We have another busy week of live meetings on Lex TV. For the most accurate and up-to-date information on all city business, check out our website, lexingtonky.gov. Now, here's a look at this week's live televised meetings. And we continue to keep you up to date on how the city is handling the pandemic via our official COVID-19 response site, including testing and vaccination sites. Simply click on the banner at the top of our homepage. That's all for now, but as always, you can keep up with us on social media. Check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at LexRex or catch our live traffic cams on lexingtonky.gov. For all of us at Lex TV, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.